All right, here it is. I'm gonna make another one today. And the subject is just a moment. All right. Sorry about that. The subject for today in this video is going to be about not sharing, about sharing can lead to your trauma. Okay. Sharing, no, let's not call it that. Let's call it, you know, sharing can make you a target. That's what we'll call it. Okay. Sharing can make you a target. Now, why is this? There are a lot of people out there that don't have it, can't figure it out. And your need for attention may cause you to share what you get, share what you got, or try to amplify what you have. You see it all the time happening on social media. You see people sharing their cars, sharing their money, sharing the trips that they go on. They even share food. You don't know where they are eating, but maybe the restaurant's got nice decor and they can sell it up. They can sensationalize it. And they want you to think that they are having a really expensive dinner. They may be having an expensive dinner. Somebody may have taken them to dinner and they're not accustomed to having dinner at a place such as the place that they're eating. So they feel the need to take a picture. I'm always leery about someone that takes pictures of food or places that they've gone. Uh, it's some semblance of act like you've been there before instead of, hey, look at me now. Look at me now, guys. Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm involved in. And what's the end game for that? Do you think people are going to see in your mind when you're doing that? You're thinking people are going to sit there and you're going to put people in a happy place. You're going to put people in a happy space for them gracing your timeline, for them gracing your presence and seeing that you're doing well, as if they're going to walk away and say, oh, I'm so glad that they are doing so well for themselves. I couldn't be happier for them. And that's your plight. That's your angle. I just want people to be happy for me. I want people to just be, I want people to see me doing well for myself. That's somehow going to make them feel like I'm they're doing well. That's going to make them happy. You're wrong. Nobody's going to get overjoyed for you except your mama. And I'm not even saying your people. Man, the only people that's going to be happy about you showing off your success is your mama. You'd be better off sending those pictures home and those videos home to your mama, because all you're doing is you're creating covert enemies. When your little pride and ego gives you the confidence to say, I'm untouchable. No, everybody can get touched. Anybody can get touched. Some of your favorite rappers got touched. Some of your favorite athletes have been touched. Some of your favorite entertainers have been touched. Nobody is exempt from being touched. And it's one thing to know somebody's doing well. It's another thing when people are vomiting over you how well they're doing. Ah, you look at me. I'm over here doing this. Now, listen, I'm not saying that you should be successful and it shouldn't show. What I'm saying is when you're leading the show, when you're leading the narrative with the show, you're creating covert enemies. You can turn an ally into your enemy real quick. Just because you confirmed that a person is your ally today, it doesn't mean that that person is going to be your ally tomorrow. Loyalty's got an expiration date, and there are things that you can do to spoil loyalty. You ever smell something? You ever smell something that stinks? That's spoiled? You ever went into your refrigerator and you forgot about that milk in the back? And you go to open it up and you, dang, what is that? It's spoiled. And would you drink it? No. But that milk's been rocking in the back of your refrigerator for some time, but it has an expiration date. And everything has an expiration date. You and I have an expiration date. You think you're going to just live in this body that you live in forever? No. You think your body is going to perform the way it performs forever. Ask somebody who is in their ask somebody who is in their 60s, do they feel like they do when they were in their 30s? Most people will tell you no. No. But you're trying to shine. You're trying to let everybody know how good you got it. You got to let everybody know what kind of whips you driving. You'll even go to the extreme where you will rent whips so people can see you stunt. What is the purpose? Let's go down that road for a minute, shall we? What is the purpose in you showing everybody that you're doing well? What are you hoping to gain from it? Do you think that there'll be parades in the street? Do you think that they're going to name a street after you for you doing so well? And if they did, what does it do? What does it do? So you're using the opportunity for fame and clout for the sake of you getting attention. Is it more endorsement deals for you? Is it any endorsement deals for you? See, when you get to a certain level, it is understood that you are doing it for those reasons. But see, you think that you're at a level that you're not really residing in. And you think that you can do what these A-listers do, and it's going to get you some type of reward. I see it on Instagram. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of degular people who either with beauty or product or service is using platforms like Instagram, and they are making a lot of money. So a part of me understands this. Some of y'all ain't even out there doing it for money. Y'all doing it for clout. And clout and fame ain't going to get you nothing. We live in a capital-based society. Cash rules everything in this society, right? That's what the saying goes. And there's some truth to that. And your efforts is about likes and shares. It ain't about nothing else. Newsflash. There's only but so many followers you can get on Facebook. I don't want to name social medias because this isn't going to age well by doing that. But the point of the matter is, whatever the flavor of the day is, because we've seen social medias come and we've seen social medias go. But whatever the flavor of the day and the time in which you're watching this video, I'm telling you right now, it is not going to earn you anything. And for those that are out there using whatever they got to get what they want, I would really caution you. Make sure that you have a contingency plan because, like all styles, things will fade as you know them. So get your money. Now, certain things that you're doing, it's going to be hard for you to answer to your kids. It's going to be hard for you to answer to with this digital footprint that you're leaving. It's going to be hard for you to answer to the spouse that you're trying to get. But go ahead. Because no amount of money, hold on, let me finish this. Because no amount of money is going to stop. It's going to give you money, doesn't get you everything. Money doesn't get you everything. That's why I said cash rules everything around me. That's some truth to it. But there's certain things that money just can't get you. You can have a whole pile of it. And it's just not possible to buy certain things. Money can't buy you certain things. You may be fooled to think that money can buy you certain things, but money cannot buy you everything. There are things, listen, there are poor people right now that have so much of what rich people want. And that's why you have the evilness of the elites. They hate that they can't have some of the things that poor or regular people seem to have. See, when you're rich, you can't trust anybody as much as you can trust when you're poor. See, when you're poor, you can see things very clear. You can see who's really there for you and who's not. If you're rich and somebody comes into your life, do you ever really know if that person is in your life for the right reasons or not? I don't know. You tell me. But when you're poor, somebody's down for you. Somebody's there for you. Somebody's right by your side. When you become rich, when you become wealthy, you have some semblance of knowing what the person is in your life for. You know, that person, now you got that media empire, and that person's been rocking with you for no price. They've been riding with you every step of the way. Now you got a little bit of money. That person is riding with you for every step of the way. Are you going to really think about that person as saying that person is only here for the money? Sure, that person may enjoy the money, but you have history and proof that the person is rocking with you whether you have the money or not. That's why it's so good. And you'll see this a lot. Some of the most lasting relationships are before people become successful, before men become successful. If a woman is riding with a man when he doesn't have anything, like I talked to my wife one time, right? And I asked her this. I said, you know, why, when you met me, I didn't have anything. Why did you rock with me? She made an interesting observation because, see, most of the time we use most of the time, especially females, will use their 20s today. Today's modernized woman will use her peak years for her self-interest. Even though anybody will tell you the most important thing in this world is family. But somehow, a typical woman, especially a woman that looks, you know, that looks like me. I'm not a woman, but what I'm saying is a woman that looks like me, typically she's going to use her best years. Relationships is the last thing that she's concerned about. Establishing a relationship with someone, a potential partner, that's the last thing that she is concerned about. She would rather use the years that come after her peak years to try to get and secure a man. And then she gets upset that she can't find a man to meet her unrealistic expectations. But see, now with me and my wife, during the peak years of my wife and I, well, see, men don't have that clock, but during those 20s, my wife thought it was very interesting to try to find and secure something with someone. And so I didn't have anything going for me tangibly, but I had a lot of potential. And so today's woman, not all women, but today's modernized woman, she wants to have a man have it all together. In her 20s, she wants a man to have it all together. But some semblance, and some of them will do this, but some semblance of a man really doesn't hit his stride until after his 40s. And she don't want to deal with a man in his 40s. Ugh, he's too old. But that's what you're searching for. but you're trying to search for it through a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, or someone in that 20 range. So that's why a modern woman typically is looking for a baller. She's looking for somebody that's scamming. She's looking for somebody that is into illegal things, or someone who is an athlete or an entertainer. And those are harder for her to obtain. But if she has the opportunity to obtain it, she'll obtain it. She'll go right with that. She wants somebody young with money. She don't care if they're doing something legal or illegal about it. And I don't want to talk about that too much, but what I'm trying to say is that's the reality of the world that we live in. But I asked my wife, I said, well, why did you hang in there with me? She said, I saw that you had potential. You were rough around the edges, but you were young, and we had an opportunity that if it didn't work out, that we would recover. And that's surely what we did. We ended up getting together, and then we ended up after dating. And I came out of a very tumultuous relationship and when I met her. And so it took us some time, part mainly, not even part, because of me. But she hung in there with me, and I ended up proposing to her. I ended up getting married. We're we're married present day. We're married present day. And there were times where in my relationship where I wanted to rush and she wouldn't let me. And there were times in a relationship where I was taking it too slow and she stated to me, boy, I ain't got all day. And that's weird when you really think about it. Because typically, the ebbs and the flows of the relationship, most men control that. It's the women that typically seek out to get married more than men, right? But my wife, I like to say she was built different. And I don't want to talk too much about my wife because I don't want y'all in my business. But what I am saying is the most the best years that you can get, the best kind of man is in those peak years for you ladies. You're going to be in competition with other women, but you got everything working for you so that you can be the cream of the crop for the right person. Now the right person comes along and you're past your prime. You're not even the cream of the crop, and that's the right kind of person for you. And if they have options, they're not going to take option C or D as option A or B. They're going to get access to whatever they can get access to. You know, the old saying that women can have who whatever man she wants, and a man can have only the woman that he can have, or something of that nature. Women got their choices, and men got to take what they can get, is what I'm saying. So, what say you? All right. But I really want to just, some of us grew up in these environments where we didn't get a lot of attention. This a lot of times comes from broken homes. This goes for men and women. And then what you grow into and develop into is somebody who yearn for clout. The reason we have clout chasing culture is because we have a lot of single parent families, and they're not really families. The best environment for a child to grow up in is a child growing up in an environment where they see their physical mom and their physical dad every single day in the home. I'm talking about living there. That's the best possible that is the best possible proponent. And another thing that will help that child is if they are growing up with siblings in that same environment that comes from mom and dad. Now, granted, I know that there are broken homes. I come from a broken home. My dad was not there for me and my brother. And he could have been, even on a sometime level, but he didn't choose that. I still love him because there's 23 of my chromosomes that come from him. So no matter what the relationship is between he and I need access to him as best as possible for nothing else but to understand myself the most. My mama can't help me with what my daddy gave me, and my daddy can't help me with what my mama gave me. So, folks that understand this, they understand that the man, the father, is just as important as the woman, the mother. And if it doesn't work out, you see in other cultures, if it doesn't work out, they still stay close in proximity because dad needs to be there, just like mom needs to be there. And you've seen it. Mature people, relationship might not have worked, but they turn into being excellent parents. I have a friend that I grew up with, played basketball with all the time. Okay. He had a child with this girl that went to school with us. Okay. Her parents was always harping on her about taking him to court for child support. And she never would because she knew. And her saying was, the courts don't love him, the courts don't love me, and the courts don't love our son. And he was there for his child. Sometimes the child would stay with her. Sometimes the child would stay with him. They were in communication. They loved that child. They did everything that they could for that child. That child grew up. That child is now grown. And no, their parents weren't married. But I will say this, mommy and daddy didn't live far from each other. There were times where mommy and daddy could have moved far away from each other, and they wouldn't. Because when you have a child, it has to be about the child. And I'm not saying that you should stay with somebody, but that's an example of, you don't have to stay with somebody and be in a relationship with somebody to have a child, uh, to do what's best for the child. Sometimes it doesn't work out as a couple between the two of you, but but why can't, but the problem is some of us can't compartmentalize our personal relationship with the father or the mother and put that over to the side and focus as parents, partners for raising this child up. Everything gets all distorted, especially from a person who's in their feelings. They're not able to differentiate and compartmentalize. Now, so this need for attention and shine comes from these broken homes. Now, some of these homes are not broken, and a child will grow up with the need to shine or a need for attention. Why is this? Because some of us are physically present, but we're not really present. And being present for a child does not mean that you have to have these vast amount of skills. See, parenting it's instinctual. Take the woman that just had her first child. She may have experience, granted, she may have experiences with her nieces and nephews or cousins that were small that she took care of. That's great. But there are women out there that have children for the first time and they don't have any of that on their resume. And they turn out to be fantastic mothers. Why? Because they allow their parental instinct to kick in. Because a woman, she has everything in her that she needs. Now, for a man, it doesn't work quite that way. But here's what is important about a man: not his money, but his presence. Is he going to be there? And a lot of times when you're in a relationship, like with me and my wife, with our children, my wife teaches me things to make me a better parent. There might be things that I'm doing that she says I'm not supposed to be doing that. But I lean in and allow myself to be taught, because the day that you don't allow yourself to be taught is the day you need to lay in 6 feet of dirt and ask somebody to throw it in your face. It's time for you to go. You're always going to be learning. So there's things that my wife teaches me daily, regularly, or remind me of that is beneficial for our children. My wife has great patience with our children, and I don't have the patience that my wife has. And my wife reminds me to have patience. That's just an example. But being there, sometimes my children sees great value in me because when they see me, they want to play. That means something to them and that helps them develop and build. So when I'm sitting there and I'm throwing them around on the couch and I'm doing this and I'm chasing them around the house and playing hide and go seek and doing those types of things and wrestling with the children and wrestling with mom, you don't understand how much that builds for a child. They need to see that, just like they need to see mom and dad positively expressing love towards each other. They also need to see mom and dad overcome disputes and how to do it positively. My wife and I don't agree on every single thing, but guess what? We don't have to necessarily go into our own private quarters to have disagreements. There is a way to have a disagreement in front of a child. But all of this that I'm talking about here, all of this plays into the factor of a child growing up having a thirst for attention and how it can be damaging in this world. So let's talk about that. We're done talking about the child side of it. Let's talk about the adult side. So now you're an adult and you want to be seen about everything. And social media, it makes it real bad because it makes everybody feel like they're a star, that it's their stage, and the world is waiting on them, and the world wants to know what's going on in their lives. It gives them a false sense of people want to know what I'm doing today. And what makes it worse is that people that don't have a life, that gravitate, they will follow you. But I simply say, what does that benefit you from them following you? Let's say you turn on a live stream and there is 500 people, 300 people, 20 people, whatever it is, watching you. Is there a purpose for what you do? Or are you aimless? Now, that attention can be good, but what are you using it for? Because nobody really cares like you think. Nobody cares that you ate. They only care if they full. Nobody cares the new dress that you got on, unless they got clothes too. Do you think the person that needs clothes appreciates you showing that you have clothes? They don't care. They don't really give a darn. So you're shining in everything, and you are actually upsetting people that may have been cool with you. Think about it. You ever been around somebody and they said, "Yeah, I'm really starting to not like such and such." Why? I mean, every time you look up, they bragging about what they got, bragging about this, bragging about that. I don't want to see that crap. Yo, I ain't feeling so and so no more. You know what? Me neither, man. I just didn't say nothing about it, but man, me either. Yeah. You know what though? They keep doing that mess and you're gonna see what's gonna happen. Yeah. And then they get together and they behind your back. And then when it happens, you sit there with your mouth open like, I can't believe that's my best friend. That's my ally. That's my this. That's my that. It was something about you that drew them to you. But it's something that they learn about you that distance themselves from you. So, what do you really want? Because your shine, your clout doesn't mean more than the people that are in your life. Together, everyone achieves more. Team. You need allies. You need as many of them as you can. And you pissing your allies off. Excuse my language. You are ticking your allies off because you are so interested in shining. Here is the deal. When you win, how come your crew ain't winning? You know, that's a bad if I can look at a group of people and I can tell who's shining and who not shining, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. Nobody's telling you got to have a big camp, but if you have some semblance of a camp, two or more, if you have some semblance of a camp, how come you're winning and they're not winning? How come their winnings it is a fraction of your winnings. See, this is in the grand scheme of things, this is why nobody needs to know your business. But what I'm saying is, what are you doing from a philanthropic standpoint? Is everything that you amass for you? Yes, you have a balance of trying to enjoy what belongs, what you worked for, but you also need to be a channel of blessing for someone else. In particular, the ones that ride for you, the ones that's all that this person has always been there for you. When you needed a shoulder to cry on, this person has always been there. When you needed some money, this person was there for you. When you needed some time, when you needed some effort, when you needed some energy, when you had a project, this person dove into it with you. Now things are turning for you. Now you're getting a little bit of this and you're getting a little bit of that. And you start flossing, flexing. And even if you can flex and everybody in your crew can flex, how do you feel about not knowing where the enemy lurks? There was a guy, he got shot up. It wasn't for somebody from his crew. Somebody tried to rob him. I can't name drop. This guy got shot up and shot up real bad. Flexing. Flexing. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? On a day-to-day basis. See, this is what happened to people who are poor. The rich tell them what's in and what's not. And so the poor, impoverished mind spends their whole life focusing on getting what the elites tell them is elite. And then they overkill with it. They overkill with it. You know, the elites say diamonds are this and diamonds are that. And so they go out, and I ain't trying to knock nobody, but hey, I'm giving you the facts. The reason that you got all of that ice around your neck and wrist is because you come from a place where you didn't have it. So you always want it. I'll use myself as an example. When I was younger, okay, I had to make a decision during pivotal times like birthdays and Christmas. I had to make a decision if it was going to be toys or if it was going to be clothes. I couldn't I couldn't choose both a lot of times. Not until, you know, we had some help. But for the most part, I had to make a decision. And mama had to plan ahead. She had to plan ahead from the beginning of the year. She had to save up her duckies to make sure that we had what we wanted. So here we are. And some of the people that I went to school with, they had all the toys that they wanted, and they had all of the shoes and clothes that they wanted, jackets, everything. Now, the years that I chose to have the toys, I didn't have a lot to go back to school with. And if you know, like I know, when we were back in school, coming back to school, and after the Christmas break, it was fashion show runway time. Whether you were a guy or a girl, when you walked the hall, everybody wanted to be the who's who of what had what had. The girls was wearing their best, the guys was wearing their best too. And then you started to see a slowdown, and you could start to see who, and separate the separation of who really had and who really didn't, because everybody for the first week come back to school and they fly. But after about the first week, you start seeing some of them same clothes that they wore before. And then you started seeing the ones that had like moms and dads and things like that, or had an abundance of resources. You were seeing them in week 2, sometimes week 3, week 4 with brand new clothes on. And then some of them were getting brand new clothes all the time. It was nothing for them to flex. They were flexing and they didn't know they were flexing. And in those early years, We could only wear our clothes but so long, because guess what? We outgrew them. We were growing. And so a lot of times in our family, like our parents or our parent didn't want to buy us all of these high end clothing because they knew you weren't going to wear them for a long time. I mean, they splurge a little bit during back to school time, but they really wanted to make sure that they really didn't want to buy you anything that you was going to wear for a short period of time. They didn't want to buy you really expensive shoes until your feet stopped growing. I mean, at least that's what it was for me. Mama was like, look, you know, you was a size 5 last year. Now you're a size 8. I'm not buying you no crazy and expensive shoes. I'll buy you some nice shoes. So look, a lot of times, and y'all will remember this too, especially people from the Tidewater area. Y'all remember those Reebok classics? You remember those? You remember when you could get those Reebok classics and they were like 19.99. They were the low line of Reebok, right? I can't remember the low line of Nike. I think they were like what was it? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but they were like DCs or something like that. These were the low line of Nike, but they were Nike. So, and during the time that I was growing up, name brand was like really a thing. Like name brand is a thing now, but it's so many options now. And yes, if you wore things in confidence back then, it would become a style. But now you can wear anything and be like, what, you ain't heard of this? And just walk with confidence. And if it looks good and you rock it good, man make the clothes, but clothes don't make the man. You understand? And so that is so prevalent today. That is probably the man. They were probably trying to manifest that back then, but it's definitely the case now. Because even the celebrities that said that saying, man don't make the man make the clothes don't make the man, they didn't wear junk. 9 times out of 10, they wore the latest fashions. They wore the most stylish this, the most stylish that. They, and I don't want to name any. I don't want to even give satisfaction to any of these companies to name that, because you know we have been exploited in that department too, because we walk around and give them free advertisement, and then what happens when we give them free advertisement? They cash in on that, and then they don't want to pay us anything. So we can't have that. We can't allow that anymore. So we're going to try to move smart. Some of us are moving smart now. So, but again, you grow up and then you covet wanting something. So what does it profit you for telling someone or telling anyone who will listen that you got money coming, that you got this house, that you got this car, that you got these outfits, or whatever the case may be? Or what does it profit you telling people that you're doing very, very well for yourself? And you caught lacking all the time. Okay. You don't even walk around with a gun, but you telling everybody what you got. And you go up in every hood and you flexing. And you ain't and you lacking. I mean, it's redundancy. And I'm not listen, you can't be creating enemies and have no way of protecting yourself. And don't go with the philosophy, no, nobody's going to do this to me. Nobody's going to do that to me. Some of you, I don't know what age you are. Some of you might be living at home with your mothers, your grandparents, or whatever the case may be, and you out there flexing and people watching your moves. And then you put your family in a presumptuous situation, and somebody gets hurt, harmed, or worse because you were running your mouth about what you got. You were flossing and you were flexing on everything that you have. You be flexing about things that you don't have. You on social media flexing, and cats watching you. Do you understand? Some people have given up in life on trying to figure it out. And so they will resort to scheming, being conniving, and taking what someone else has. I remember a guy robbed me, and the words that he said to me, he was just like, hey, And he caught me lacking. And he said, look, man, just give me what you got, man. I can't get it. You can get another one. True story. True story. And I wasn't even flexing. Guy came over to my house and asked if he could cut my grass. And I told him, yeah. And then I overpaid him, thinking I was doing something nice. See, and that's where we get in trouble. We think we're doing something nice. I overpaid the guy, and the guy felt like, if he can overpay me, well, shoot, I got to ride up on him. And that's what he did. He rode up on me. He caught me lacking. And y'all out here flexing. Y'all out here traveling in the middle of the night in the hours where the only two things open is legs and convenience stores. And you forgot all of that unconscious work that you did to make yourself a target. Like, people have to know you winning. Momentary feeling for a lifetime of pain. You out there trying to shine. You out there trying to stunt. And it is like the sheep led. Follow the rap game. Follow the rap game. That's a pioneer for how it happens. When almost every artist coming to the rap game, they are doing everything they can to try to flex. Now, part of it is understandable because they're trying to get attention. But what happens is, after a certain period of flexing, they don't feel like flexing anymore. They come in the game and they look like Mr. T. They got all this jewelry on. All this jewelry. And if they last, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. Rest in peace, Young Dolph. These are just two examples. Pop Smoke, he passed from a robbery going wrong. Everybody anybody knows that story. Enemies that he didn't know he couldn't specifically identify, right? All of the flexing creates. Now you're on a huge platform and you're flexing. You're on a huge platform and you're flexing. And all of these people see you. And then they find out that you come into a theater near them. And kudos. Some of the guys know. And that's why they won't be caught lacking. But just because you're not lacking, do not mean that you can't be touched. They're called shootouts. Raise your hand if you want to sign up for a shootout. You're not lacking. You know, you got your AKs, you got your MRs, you got every other letter. You got your Glock, you got your 9, you got your 380s, you got all of those types of things on you, and you feel so confident. But that stuff ain't bulletproof. That stuff shoots bullets, but it ain't making you bulletproof. Now, you put on a bulletproof vest, you can still get touched. Ain't nobody aiming for, look, anybody that's aiming, and I use that term loosely, anybody that's aiming, what are they aiming for? Are they aiming for your head? So everybody's walking around here with these bulletproof vests on. Ain't nobody got a bulletproof cap on. And why would I want to put myself in a situation where I got to walk around like that? I mean, look, it's one thing. Look, I don't think that anyone shouldn't be prepared, but nobody should promote something that has to make them stay ready. Like, there are going to be situations that may happen, but how responsible are you for the situations that happen to you? You out there shining for what? It and let's listen. It can't. It should not be about girls. Why would you want to hook up with a girl that doesn't have your best interest? You know, they all got the same thing. They all got a box. So why would you want to deal with a woman that can't bring something to you? Don't give me this stuff about sex. Don't give me stuff about, oh, it's because of that. No, you know what it is? That's an even exchange. And fellas, you're going to have to start understanding that when it comes down to that act and getting with a woman, okay, and getting physical with a woman in a loving way, or whatever the case may be, or whatever you want to call it, that's an even exchange. It should be. She should be getting something out of it too. But what this society has created is, it's such a labor and it's such a chore for a woman. That's why you got to pay for it. That's why you got to take her out, and that's why you got to fly her out. Because it's just so much labor for her. She's doing this for you. She could be doing anything else, but she's doing this for you. And a lot of times, because we allow this, a lot of times they say to us, well, when we want to know what it is that they bring to the table, it's offensive to them because it's not something that they were equipped to think about. And why? Because we made it that possible. So why would you want to flex? Now, a lot of these modern women are looking for symbols that you got it established. So when they see a nice car, they're more apt to talk to you. When they see jewelry, they're more apt to talk to you. But the worst enemies are the ones that you let get closest to you. So if that girl has bad intentions and you show her signs that she wants to see about you, especially if you don't know she sees it, she can come on some play humble, play I'm looking for, play whatever. Do you remember that movie Coming to America? That famous line where Eddie Murphy says, I'm looking for a woman that arouses my intellect as well as my loins. It's real. It's real. That woman that he was about to marry, Imani, she was willing to do whatever he asked. What kind of movie? Whatever you like. You know, what's your favorite food? Whatever you like. And it's not about being with somebody that's going to be different, have difference of opinions about you. You're not trying to find somebody that's going to make your life challenging. But you do want to be with someone that can bring something to the table that you can't, because you can't bring everything to the table. You can only bring to the table what you're good at bringing to the table. If you could bring everything to the table, there would be no need for your pairing of anyone. But see, that's the duality of a man and a woman. A man can bring something to the table that women can't, and a woman can bring something to the table that a man can't. And so anytime now listen, I know, fellas, you like women and you like them in droves. And some of you will say, ain't nothing better than a woman than another woman. I get that. But what comes with a woman? So you're doing all of this shining and you're doing all of this clouting, and she's clout chasing. And it's not only just women that are clout chasing, men are clout chasers too. But we do them in different types of ways, because the dating market says so. But when even if we're just trying to, we want people to like us. Let's just say, you know, if it's a guy, you want to have other guy friends, right? And let's just say that's what you want. So you flex around them so they know you have it. And so now you get from them what you want, which is they can hang around you and be cool or whatever the case may be. But do you really know why they're around you? Because, a predator can lie in the bushes for as much time as they need before they strike. And some of you got some predators in your camp. They waiting to catch you slipping. They are around you so much to garner the rhythm and the timing and the scheduling of what you do so that they can strike. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Look at Sean Taylor. That was a robbery gone wrong because the Redskins had a game on the road and his boys expected him to not be there so they could run up in his house and get his valuables. But he didn't travel with the team. Botch, gone wrong, shot. And this is the funny thing. He wasn't shot in the head and died. He was shot in the leg. You think, oh, I got shot in the leg, I'll live. No, you lose too much blood, you're going to die. You letting everybody in your circle. You let everybody come into your house. You let everybody look at me. Look at what I got. Look at what I did. Look at what I accomplished. This, that, and the other. You are so concerned with fattening your inner circle when your inner circle is supposed to be so small. You can see everybody at all times. See, there's an inner circle, there's an outer circle, and then there's the courtyard and everything else outside of that. And there's some folks that is in your inner circle should be only at best trampling their feet in your courtyard. Like they're not supposed to know. They're not supposed, they can have their own ideas. One thing for them to have their own ideas. But if they are in their proper place, then you have the proper vantage point to see when something is going awry. But you out there shining though, bringing in all of the attention, bringing in all of the press. And some of the clout chasing that y'all doing, y'all need a whole military. You need a whole military to be able to fortify you for all of the things that's trying to get at you. But you sitting there and you out there flexing. Why? Can we please move with understanding? Can we please have some wisdom? I'm so tired of seeing so many of my brothers and sisters out here getting clapped for no reason, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, dealing with the wrong people. Remain empathetic to somebody's struggle. You don't want to flex in front of somebody that's struggling. The only time that you want to do something for the only possible time, and you may not want to even do it then, but if somebody is in your proximity, teach them how to fish. Like, don't even hand out fish. Y'all handing out fish. And the thing about handing out fish, feed a stray dog, feed a stray cat, and they're going to keep coming back to your door whenever they're hungry. You can't feed them like that. You have to. It's in particular men, women too, but in particular, you have to teach. If somebody is struggling, they haven't figured it out, and you want to lend your time to teach them, that's noble. But if they don't want you to teach them, you got to separate from them because they don't want to earn it. And people that don't want to earn it, they still need it. They will scheme to get it, and they will compromise their moral compass to get whatever it is they want and feel justified for doing so. Just like I told you about the guy who robbed me. He said, you got it like that, so you'll get it. What? And I didn't even have it like that. I just had something he wanted. This guy robbed me for $17 on a PlayStation. Now, PlayStation. That's how little he was thinking. And yeah, I did have a job. So after a few weeks or whatever the case may be, when I got my paycheck, yeah, I could go back out there and I could get me another game. The point of the matter was some people haven't figured it out, and some people don't care to figure it out. It's easier for them to, in their minds, it's easier for them to take something from someone after they're waiting for somebody else to figure some stuff out, acquire, and then they'll come behind and they'll take it. And then you done figured out how to acquire. And instead of you taking your efforts and energy into continuing to acquire, you take your time and you start flexing on what you acquired. And then you try to broadcast it to any eyes that will see. Go home and tell your mama about what you acquired. But what Biggie Smalls say about your own mother, she will be waiting in the bushes. Go look at the 10 crack commandments. She will be waiting in the bushes. I mean, what guys, final thoughts. We got to get this thing together, man. Like what you're gunning for ain't worth the price of admission. What you're gunning for is not worth it. It is not worth you risking your freedom, your way of life, or even worse, your life to try to flex on other people. You ain't doing nothing but making the road harder for yourself. You see some of these billionaires looking like they dress from the local department store. It's like they don't have to flex. They know they got it. And whether you don't have, and even though you don't have at the level of what they have, why isn't it enough for you to just know that you got it? You got it. That's good. You got it. Be careful. Take some of that effort and energy and try to impact your community. Which, by the way, shout out to my organization, Evolves. Check it out, evolves.world. Okay. We're helping the disenfranchised. Find ways that you can help. There's a lot of people out here that hadn't figured it out, man. And I know you're saying, hey, look, if I figured it out and if I share it with everybody, then it's going to be less for me. But just use your thoughts and try to think of some way, somehow, that you can inject some of that into others and make others have a better quality of life. It's tough out here. And nobody needs somebody in the face talking about some nah, 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 boo, boo. You know, that's childish. It's just more advanced because you nah, 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 booing, nah, 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 boo, booing in front of everybody on a large level. You don't know what you're drawing to yourself. Get yourself together, get your life together, and stop worrying about what other people think about you. Stop trying to reach the masses. If you just be who you're supposed to be and do what you're supposed to do, you'll be more effective getting what you're supposed to get and accomplishing and producing the harvest that you desire to produce and harvest. Just keep grinding. Just keep your head down doing what you got to do. You want to come up and enjoy the fruits of your labor? Do that. But don't make that don't make that commonplace. You don't have time to vacation. You don't know how long the sun is going to be out. The sun is not going to last forever. Nightfall's coming. The rain is coming. The storms are coming. What are you doing to prepare for that? It's not going to always be gravy for you. I'm glad that it's gravy for you, but why don't you expend some energy trying to make the world around you and the people around you a better place? Last thing that I'm going to say, and then I'm going to wrap up. When I used to work at this company where we would go residential, one of the things that we did when we went residential is we had this thing called clover leafing. Okay. So you come out of a door. Okay. So you come out of a door. All right. And then there's a house next to it. And then there's another house next to it. We hit both of those houses. Okay. And we told them about our services and we offered them, a free opportunity to showcase what we can do for them. But then the three houses across the street, the one directly across from the house that I just helped, I would hit that house. And then the two houses beside them, I would hit those houses. So now that's a total of 5 houses. So if I had 5 stops in a day and I hit 5 houses at every stop, I just hit 25 houses. If in a 5-day period, I mean in a weekly period, I hit 25 houses. And in a monthly period of 4 weeks, consisting that the month has 4 weeks, if I hit 100 houses, okay, and you say 100 times 12, okay, 100 times 12, that's 1,200 houses. If I hit 1,200 houses in the course of a year, just for simple math, how many of those houses could I make new customers? Then how much extra income would that be for me? Do you get it? So it's not you killing yourself. It's just you touching the people that you can reach. If everybody just did what they could and touched the people they reach, there are people that weren't made to figure it out. There were people that were made to be in proximity of someone who can figure it out. So for those of us that can figure something out, we have to try to give back and share some semblance of what we figured out so they can get and achieve the results that they can get and achieve. That's the responsibility that we have to each other. So that's it. That's all that need to be said about it. Please like and share this video. Please leave a comment. And definitely, if you would be so kind, subscribe. I am going to be focused and concentrating on making content. There's a lot of things that I've experienced in my life. I hope to share that. By you leaving a positive comment, that helps me with the algorithms. Okay. So that I can get in front of as many people that I am supposed to reach. Certain people that I get in front of, I don't do it for them, granted, but I need your help. Share this video, like this video, and comment this video. It only takes a nanosecond to do. And then by doing this, I can get in front of some other people that I can benefit and bless. And then also right below, if you need to get in contact with me, email me. If you have a question, if you want to book me to speak or whatever the case may be, just let me know. I'll be happy to speak with you. I'll be happy to work with you, and I'll be happy to serve. So if you can do those things, then I will be forever grateful. And until the next time, I love you guys.